About 6 months ago, I got my very first MacBook, and it was the first time I'd ever bought a computer that wasn't a Windows machine. And that was something that the me of 5 to 10 years ago would have been absolutely raging about. Dude, what the hell are you doing? Why would you ever buy a MacBook? It's such a waste of money. I mean, you could buy a way cheaper PC and it will have so much more performance. You can't even play games on it. What are you doing? That was a reenactment, by the way, in case you were wondering. The me of 5 or 10 years ago had much less of the beer belly going on. Anyway, now I've actually got one, and while there absolutely is pros and cons, I wanted to make a quick video to share with you just a few of the things that have really surprised me about macOS. And they're little things here and there, but in my personal experience, and this is me talking, these are a few of the things that I love most about my newfound grown-up experience of being a Mac user. If you've used Mac for a while, this seems like such an integrated thing that really is just there and you just use it every day and you don't really think anything of it. But coming from Windows, the preview and quick look in Finder is just revolutionary. When you're browsing files in the Windows File Explorer, you're constantly having to open apps and make sure you're opening it in the right app, and this file type needs that app and that file type needs this app, and it's just a whole thing. And God forbid if you want to open like a PSD file from Photoshop or a raw photo from your camera, but Mac just does it. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so here's just a little sample set of files that I've pulled together of all different file types to show how this works. And if you've used the Mac before, you'll know, but you can open a GIF, you press space and it opens it up. That was a little GIF that I had on my old Twitch emotes. A WAV file, if you want audio, you just press space bar and it opens it and starts playing it. A video file, you press spacebar, it opens it and it starts playing it. A JPEG image, pretty straightforward, but it opens it. And then you've got a raw image from my Sony camera, you click on it and it opens it, no problem at all. A PSD file from Photoshop, not a problem. It just opens it. It's absolutely amazing. And then with a PDF, you can go even further, and you can do this with some of the other things as well, but you open the PDF up and you get all these other options. You can open up markup. You can highlight text, you can change the colors of it, you can use the pen to draw on it, you can do all different things, you can add a signature if you need to sign something, you can add arrows and point to stuff if you click it properly anyway. So there's an arrow and you can change the color of it again, you can change where it points to. So many things you can do, and it's all just built in within macOS. You don't have to install anything, it just works from the start, and you can open all these file types in preview just by pressing spacebar on pretty much any file that you get on your file system. It seems so obvious, but I absolutely love it. The almighty Apple ecosystem. You hear about it all the time, right? And everybody talks about how everything just works, and that if you've got multiple Apple devices, you can really start to understand how amazing the Apple ecosystem is. And it's kind of true, but I didn't realize just how much these things would matter to me every day. I already owned an iPhone, an Apple Watch, and AirPods Pro, so really an iPad and a Mac were the only things I needed to complete the set. But upon getting a Mac, the way my AirPods switch between my phone and my Mac, the way I can airdrop large photos and videos from any app on my phone directly to the MacBook without even having to think about it, and it's quick and fast. Being able to automatically fill in two-factor authentication codes that come through by SMS on my phone. Having the messaging app on my computer, and I can send SMS messages or iMessages with my actual real keyboard. Being able to use my phone as a camera on my MacBook using continuity camera, or even being able to copy and paste something from your phone to your Mac. A real world example of this where I find it really useful is my girlfriend will send me a tracking number for a package or something that's due to be delivered to let me know oh, it's coming today, you're at home, wait for it. But she sent me a screenshot, and so getting the tracking number from it is annoying. But obviously on an iPhone, you can copy and paste text from an image. So I can select it on my phone on the screenshot, copy the text, paste it on my MacBook into the tracking website that I need to follow, and then while I'm working throughout the day, the tracking page is up, it's there, everything's there, I can keep checking on it. Is it nearby? Do I need to make sure I'm listening out for the door? It's amazing, but it does take a while to actually remember that it exists. The number of times I've copy and type something from my phone screen onto my Mac and then realize, wait a minute, I could have just copy and pasted it. You really need to let it sink in. And then there's having the Apple Watch to be able to unlock your Mac. I walk up to my desk, I press a button on the keyboard, everything wakes up, my watch makes a little clicky sound, and I'm in and ready to go. As well as being able to authorize Apple Pay and stuff on your Mac with a double click on the watch. so convenient and saves typing in passwords. I wish it was a little bit quicker, but it's still quicker than typing in a password most of the time. Like, I knew all these features existed, right? And so this shouldn't have been a surprise to me. I'd read about them when Apple released them, I'd seen videos about them, I'd watched other people using them. But really, to me, the whole Apple ecosystem thing just kind of felt like a lot of cool little features, and almost like Apple saying, look what we can do with our cool technology and stuff like that, when I never really saw the real world use case for it until I started using it. And now these features are things that I use every single day, and honestly, I think I would be quite lost without them. And as I say that, my Mac just went to sleep and it woke up with my watch without having to put a password in. Like, there you go. Again, this is something I really didn't think about while using Windows that much. It was just kind of there. But macOS has never tried to sell me anything. Okay, maybe Apple Care, but you have to kind of go into settings and look for it. It's not throwing it in your face. It's never tried to send me to a random website with an article that it thinks I would like to read. It's never recommended me some crappy game on the App Store. There wasn't a bunch of random apps installed when I first turned on the Mac, apart from Apple's own apps, which are kind of useful. And even if you don't think they are, you can just drag them into the trash can and they're gone forever. It's like, no, Microsoft, I do not want to play Candy Crush. It's amazing what you come to accept from an operating system when you don't really know of anything different. These are things that have kind of crept up on us in Windows over the years. I mean, I'm old enough to remember using like Windows 98, and this stuff wasn't a thing back then. I mean, if you bought like a computer from a normal retailer, they would kind of put their own bloatware on it, but it didn't kind of come as part of Windows if you just installed fresh Windows from a disk. It wasn't a thing. So when you do finally start using an operating system that doesn't shovel that crap down your throat 24 hours a day, it's such a massive breath of fresh air that when I do turn on my PC for a spot of gaming now and then, it just feels like a bit of a mess. The start menu is full of absolute rubbish. When you search for a file, it comes up with a load of stuff that you never ever would need. It's gotten so bad, and I'd just accepted it and never really taken any notice of it. It just got a little bit more with each version of Windows, with each update, and it was just there and it was just how it was. But with a Mac, it is not there at all. It's gone, and I'm so happy about it. So this is a weird one, and it can be a pro or a con depending on how you look at it, but the lack of games that are easily available to play on macOS has actually been a massive and surprising perk for myself. I know it might not be for everybody, this one, but hear me out. So I'm far from perfect, and I'm quite literally the king of procrastination. And it doesn't take a lot for me to stop doing what I should be doing and start doing what I shouldn't be doing, like playing video games, for example. I mean, Arnie in Kindergarten Cop would have definitely told me, "You lack discipline." But I've found the easiest way to avoid me falling into this habit is to put just little barriers in the way of me doing so. The slight inconvenience can be enough to deter me from going down that path and carry on doing what I should be doing. So for me, not having all of the latest and greatest games available right on my Mac when I'm trying to get work done is a huge win. If I sit down at my desk and start using my Mac, I actually find I get work done. To play games, I've got to turn on the PC, I've got to wait for it to boot up, I've got to open the relevant app, the Xbox app or the Steam app. I've got to dodge all the ads coming at me from Windows, and it takes time. I've got to switch the monitor input, switch the mouse and keyboard input, and it just becomes such a thing that I don't do it. Whereas when it's right there and I can just click on it at any time, I tend to fall into that trap. So while this one is very personal to me, and you guys out there may well be much more disciplined than I am, it's not really a Mac versus Windows thing, but it's the having a dedicated machine that is meant for getting work done and a dedicated machine that's meant for play and entertainment. Being able to separate those two things has made me far more productive and just seen me have a massive increase in what I'm able to get done and not get distracted as quickly as I used to. Listen. Can you hear that? No, me neither. All right, so I feel like I want to turn into Bjork right now and start singing about how it's oh so quiet, but it really is oh so quiet. It's suddenly so peaceful sitting here at my desk in my room with no noise going on in the background. It's something that I'd never even considered after years and years of always having that droning PC going on behind me. And I get so used to the quiet that when I do turn the PC on, it seems so loud. In sort of 6 months of having it, I've only ever heard my fans spin up one time, and that was when I'd first gotten it and I was sitting on my bed in the early days, kind of pushing its limits a little bit, and I was playing Total War Warhammer 3 on the highest settings I could get it to run at, while sitting on my bed with it sat on top of my duvet, getting hot. The fans came on, and even then it wasn't that loud. I kind of had to be like, wait a minute, is that the fans? Like, it wasn't obvious. And I think that's such an underrated thing. Just the peace of mind of quietness when you're trying to get stuff done. It's so underrated. I mean, I've even gone back into my PC settings and tweaked the fan profiles and stuff to try and make it hotter but quieter rather than being quiet and loud. Before, I was like, I don't care how loud it is, it's running cool and it's gonna be lasting me forever and I'll get the best performance possible. Not anymore, I can't deal with the noise. It's like, get hot, I don't care, just don't make too much noise while you're doing it. But even then, you fire up a game and the GPU starts going and it's just noisy, just so noisy in comparison to the peace and quiet that my MacBook offers. But it's not all perfect, right? So let me know if you'd like a follow-up to this video telling you some of the things that I don't like about macOS since I made the switch. And what do you love or hate most about macOS versus Windows? Do let me know down in the comments. I really would be interested to hear about it. And apart from that, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.